don't normally come on this forum to talk about historical matters, but I thought I would address something that has raised its head very recently as a result of the closure of the Israeli embassy in Dublin by the Israeli government. This was in response to the Irish government's support for the South African case at the International Court of Justice alleging genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza by the Israeli armed forces, and it prompted a furious response from the Israeli Minister for Foreign Affairs, Gideon Sa'ar, who announced the closure of the embassy, stating that the actions, double standards and anti-Semitic rhetoric of the Irish government against Israel are rooted in efforts to delegitimize and demonize the Jewish state. In the separate tweet, he went on to discuss Ireland's neutrality in the Second World War, stating, "And if we are discussing historical truths, let us not forget that Ireland was at best neutral during World War II." This prompted a flurry of newspaper articles, columns, posts on X, etc., drawing attention to a notorious incident at the end of the Second World War after Hitler died, when the Irish Taoiseach, or Prime Minister Éamon de Valera, paid a visit to the German legation at Northumberland Road in Dublin to express his condolences on the death of Hitler. Now, I am not here to defend de Valera's actions. It was a really crass and stupid thing to do, but I thought I might try and explain the context in which it happened in a letter he sent to the Irish minister or ambassador to Washington, Robert Brennan, in which he said, "So long as we retained our diplomatic relations with Germany, to have failed to call upon the German representative would have been an act of unpardonable discourtesy to the German nation and to Dr. Hempel himself. Personally, I think he made a big mistake, because Hitler was a uniquely evil person, and we all already knew about the concentration camps and the Holocaust, so he shouldn't have done what he did, right? I think most people recognize that fact. But where I would defend de Valera is from views that are commonly expressed that somehow his visit indicated that Ireland supported the Nazis in the Second World War. That is not correct whatsoever. In fact, Ireland may have been neutral, but it was very much neutral in favour of the Allied powers. The reason that I'm on here today is to talk about this incident, but also to draw your attention to the fact that the National Archives of Ireland every year release the state papers. Now, usually they're papers or files from 30 years previously, so in this case it's 1994, but they also release files from other parts of Irish history that had been overlooked in the past and hadn't been released. So they have released the files from the American legation in Washington from the Second World War, and they are very interesting. And there is a whole file related to the response of Irish Americans to de Valera's condolences on the death of Hitler. As you can imagine, like a lot of other people, they were horrified by what happened and very, very disappointed in de Valera's actions. And we also see Robert Brennan trying on many different occasions to all those people who responded, including obviously the media as well. It got a lot of traction in the United States that this was a formal courtesy. This was simply a diplomatic courtesy that was extended to Dr. Hempel, and that it meant no more than that. But I don't think many people saw it that way at the time. There are two interesting documents in the file that I thought I'd draw your attention to because of the allegation that Ireland is an anti-Semitic nation. There was a very interesting letter in the files that's just been released, and it's a letter signed in 1944 by the Jewish Representative Council of Ireland. And it states, "The Jewish Representative Council of ERA repudiate as false, irresponsible and mischievous any suggestion that the government of this country is anti-Semitic or that there is any organised anti-Semitic movement in ERA." There's also a letter in the files from Fianna Fáil, the TD Robert Briscoe, who was a friend of de Valera's and was also involved in the War of Independence. He denies emphatically that the people of Ireland or the present or any government of Ireland are or have ever been anti-Semitic. Ireland's neutrality in the Second World War is still a matter of debate, but I would say respectfully that there was nothing anti-Semitic about that neutrality in the Second World War, and de Valera was not an anti-Semite.